allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yes.
Sweet.
Cuss your ass off.
just in case.
That's scary that's the first question you had.
Well, I'm Gina and one of the hosts. And then go ahead.
I'm Kez. I had a title at some point. It wasn't as cool.
It's producer Kez.
It was just producer Kez?
I think so.
That's me. I'm the producer.
I'm Rich.
Co-host.
Just I'm here just so I keep everybody in line. Or maybe you gotta keep me in line.
And then we have
Jenny, the beer engineer.
Yeah.
I don't really know what a beer engineer does other than make sure that I'm here for the beer and
no, she's just holding the couch down.
Gets cocktails going. But you do keep us like on time. We will rely on you for timing. So
oh boy.
And hydration.
But tonight we have to do this through Zoom. So we're going to keep ourselves hydrated, talk about a few things. But yeah, I don't know, Jenny, if you could pay attention to time and let us know like when we're about 30 minutes in. Sound good?
Yep.
We could edit it
I
all
think
out.
We're almost there. Aren't we almost
I mean, no, 30 minutes starting like now from introductions.
What was that?
We're gonna have to admit the other stuff. We're 30 minutes into the Zoom call though. But no, that wasn't all you, Rich. Like we had started it like
that was all you. It was about
15 minutes
20 minutes waiting for Rich.
No, it wasn't.
Well, here. Had you just texted me the meeting ID and the password, I would have been right on. With this iPad, I don't have emails set up on there, and then I must have typed in the wrong email address, or not the email password. So then once I reset it, to reset it, it's going to send me a code. Well, sitting in the basement here, I don't get a signal, so it's not sending me a code. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I don't know.
Now, I have a question.
What
is it going to save the information I just typed in? So if we do this again, is it?
No, it's going to be a new
the same, or is it going to be different?
It'll be in. Well, okay. So our next one, I will do like a formal one that I'll make, and then I'll just set it as a scheduled event once we can just agree on like if we're going to do it once a week, then it'll just automatically be the same link every week. Then.
Okay.
So
I can see me screwing it up, every week. I'll be the guy screwing it up because I won't be able to get on. So.
It would have been easier if Jenny wasn't giving you like a VIN number and a tracking code at the same time.
I don't know what she was giving me.
It's
big
U, little U, 7-2, little B. X.
Okay, I typed the whole thing in, and it went. Please put it in again. I'm like, oh no, I'm not typing that. No, it's not happening. I'm not doing it.
I was only halfway through it. It wasn't even done.
Well, I found the number down here. So once I found it, I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I knew that wasn't going to be right. I knew it. I'm like, there's no way that's the password.
Well, we got you in here now. So we got a treat for everybody tonight. So we're just gonna talk about weird topics. We're gonna pre-plan topics every week. We're just gonna sit and have a conversation about it. Some of it's gonna be centered around Rich and I met through paranormal investigation team that we were both on. Yep. And so we'll talk about some investigations. We'll talk about just personal experiences. We're also going to just have topics that we'll do some research on, talk about it, and have a discussion. That's on video that you're just like,
well,
giving me a face.
You're tapping the chair, and
I'm sure. Did you hear the tapping?
You can hear that.
I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah. Well, last time we recorded any little thing.
Well, we were noobs then. We still are, but that's all right.
So we got microphones now.
So as soon as we'll talk about that after. Well, anyway, let's get on to the subject here.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about?
So back in 2016, if you remember, Kez and I did a haunted road trip. Yes. So at the time, we hijacked the paranormal team's Facebook page and did quite a few Facebook lives. Jenny, I don't know if you got to see any of that. And
I don't think so.
So we decided we wanted to go to the home of the Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And so Kez decided to plan a phenomenal road trip. And we went, how long we were gone? Like I don't know, it doesn't matter, but like, a week. So we did a week road trip between here and West Virginia and back. And we went to quite a few haunted locations.
Here is Wisconsin.
Here, oh yeah, for those listening, here is Wisconsin.
Where did you start at?
The first place that we hit was Edna Collins Bridge.
So
what
is
it?
Edna Collins or Edna Collins, depending on who you ask. Bridge in Indiana, covered bridge, very cool looking.
I think I've heard of that one before, or something similar to that. I remember last year we were on our way to investigation in Indiana, and someone brought up about a bridge. So I wonder if that's the same one.
It's in Putnam County, Greencastle, Indiana. For listeners wanting to know where it's at,
where's that in relation to like Indianapolis area?
No, I don't know. Not right now, without looking it up offhand. And since producer Kez is hooked up to my computer this time around, we're not going to have as many opportunities to look things up. But I did write down that it goes over Little Walnut Creek. And for those listening that's interested in going to see it, it's 1 mile southeast of Clinton Falls on County Road 450. So it was built in 1922. You want to tell the story behind it? Do you remember?
You can go ahead.
Okay. He's like, just go.
That means she doesn't remember.
Right. And as I say, she's like, oh yeah. So I'm not the whole history. These first few things we're going to gloss over and just give you the highlights. But with Edna Collins Bridge, it was this little girl that supposedly drowned in the creek that was below the bridge. And supposedly she visits the area, protects the area. If people are there, they go inside the bridge and honk their horn, and supposedly she comes. I think there might have even been situations where was there like handprints or something?
Yeah, so if you go within the bridge and you honk your horn 3 times, she's supposed to try to get into the vehicle with you.
Yeah. So what we did was we did pull inside of the bridge, and we turned off the bridge, and I pulled out a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They're still frozen. Pulled out a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I said, oh, you want to come in and sit down with me and, have a bite of my sandwich or whatever. And the K2 started going off. And so we did all kinds of troubleshooting because there's no electricity on the bridge at all. And so we tried to use our phones to see if that was setting off the K2, because you know how sometimes that can happen. So we literally tried everything and couldn't recreate it. We didn't see her. We didn't get any EVPs, but it was beautiful.
Did you drive onto the bridge?
Yeah, that was in the bridge when we did this.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went in the bridge, honked the horn, did all the whole thing. The only thing we got were K2 hits. So
but the creepiest thing that happened was when we saw the same truck go by a couple times. Then we were done.
Yeah. There was a truck that just kept, I felt like it just kept showing up out of nowhere, because it's this weird like country road, and you come around this corner, go over the creek, and the bridge is there, and then it goes on into like, a farming neighborhood or whatever. It's a paved road, but I just felt like the truck just kept showing up. And it was just really
it the Jeepers Creepers guy?
Maybe.
Could have been him.
It made
Jeepers Creepers, don't sue me for singing this song.
Yeah, we don't have the rights to that song. Let's just put that out there.
Not the one she sang.
That's good. So that was the first stop. The next stop was, you remember?
100 Steps Cemetery.
And that
100
is
steps.
Yeah, 100 Steps Cemetery. That is where did I see here? It's Brazil, Indiana. So I think Brazil is not far from Indianapolis, honestly. I think that's close to Indianapolis, if I'm thinking correctly. Anyway, so basically what that one is, it's an old cemetery. It has has cemetery plots and headstones back to like 1860 and before, I believe. And so the thing with Step Cemetery, the 100 Step Cemetery, is that, you're supposed to walk at midnight. You're supposed to walk up the 100 steps and count them on your way up. And when you get to the top, you're supposed to then turn around and face the whole like cemetery open field. And at that time, the ghost of the first caretaker of the cemetery is supposed to show himself to you. And then he's supposed to show you how you're going to die in a vision.
Nice.
Now, so you can beat death. So the story goes is like, you got to walk back down the steps and count again. And if you don't count the same amount of, if you count the same amount of steps, you're fine. Like you'll beat death. But if you don't count the same amount of steps, then that's how you're going to die.
Well, I'm just going to say, with the way the steps look, you'd probably kill yourself just trying to walk back down.
Yeah. Are you looking at it now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, but it was weird is I think we thought like if you do count down, it's a different amount of steps anyway.
So it's not very steep. It's not very steep. It's just like looks like it's just more of a.
Actually, it's steeper than it looks.
Really? Okay.
It is pretty steep. Now when we got to
okay,
the top,
looking down from the top, yeah, I could see it. Yep.
It's pretty steep, and so then they said that if you try to beat death also or cheat death also, like see this ghost without having to do the steps, and you run up the grass instead of using the steps, a phantom hand is supposed to come out of nowhere, push you down the hill, and then supposedly you'll have like a red handprint on wherever it pushed you on your back or whatever.
I'm like super impressed by how much you remember.
Oh no, I looked up the rest of it right beforehand.
I'm like, yep, this is all true. Like this is why we went. How do you remember that?
As I read it right before we got on, I like wanted to refresh my memory. I was like, so I haven't even had to really look at the paper because I just had to read it once to remind myself. Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
The next, do you remember Gravity Hill? Why don't you tell us about Gravity Hill?
This one, they actually have a lot of gravity hills around the country, but it's essentially
Mooresville, Indiana.
This one was in Mooresville, Indiana. But when you put your car in neutral, facing up towards the hill, you're actually supposed to start. It appears as if you're going up the hill. If you're
you're going backwards up the hill.
Right. I think I've heard stuff on that before. Yeah.
And there's another hill, and it sucks you backwards.
Yep. So that's supposed to be haunted. Something about somebody pushing your vehicle up the hill
to save you
from something. There's a lot of legends like that, but it ultimately comes down to an optical illusion.
Right. Yeah. Right. Is this the one? I heard something similar on a show that I was listening to. About a school bus full of kids or something getting stuck on the tracks. So that's one of the
legends.
Okay. So it's the same type of thing.
Gotcha. Yep, it's one of the legends that are in that area. And so we did put our car in neutral, and it was moving like it.
The ghost pushed you off the tracks, so you wouldn't get hurt.
It looks like it was getting sucked back up the hill.
So the one we were at did not have tracks. I think the one you're talking about is, I think that's California.
It might be California now that
but it's the same folklore, same thing.
Same type of thing, yeah, where it appears like you're downhill, but really, like you said, the science of it is you're not.
Well, and then they say that it, because where you're going with that is like it was a school bus full of children, and they got hit by a train, and so now if you stop your car in the tracks, they'll push you off.
Get out. Correct.
And you're supposed to put like flour on the trunk of your car.
Yes, and you see the handprints. Yes.
Yep. So, but I would imagine that if handprints were to show up, you could probably explain that by like the oils on your hands.
Correct. I would assume so as well. Yep.
Right.
I'm already
Mr. Funk over there.
Yeah.
But you know what? You bring up a good point. Is when we do these investigations that we go on. Why don't we bring baby powder or something with us?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Because I mean, sometimes even if a lot of times you go and you don't get a lot of visual stuff. At least not a lot of times when you go, it's more the stuff we run into is disembodied voice or EVPs or stuff like that. Very seldom do you go somewhere where we saw something move or we saw a figure or whatever. But I mean, just in the case of one that you go to, I mean, who says that you don't put it down and all of a sudden you get something that you weren't even expecting to get? I mean, it's something easy to do. I mean, Even if
as
you
long
just
as
like
you
put
can clean it up.
a recorder or or like you do with a recorder and a trigger object, or like the REM pod or something, that if something's supposed to get close to touching something, put some powder around it just to see if you get anything around it.
I guess to also
good
to
idea,
eliminate
Kez. Good idea.
Yeah, I'll send you guys with the shop vac on the next
Good idea.
investigation. We got a mini shop vac you can send it with.
Sweet.
And then from there we went to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, home of the Mothman. Okay, so I have to tell you, full disclosure, we planned this trip and then we were watching My Paranormal Story like the week before our trip.
Okay.
And then it happened to be about the Mothman. And we were like, shit, we watched that show. We were like, fuck this. Like, tell them.
Well, let's ask them. Like, what do you guys?
Oh yeah, what do you know about?
What do you know about the Mothman? What do you know about the legend?
I know that he's got red eyes, and I don't remember a lot about it. Only thing I remember is, like you said, I've seen it on the shows, but my memory sucks. So I don't remember. I mean, if I'm watching the show, I'd start remembering some of this stuff. Doesn't it like screech or something? And
it's got like big claws and it's winged and kind of like bat wings, but then it's tall, like almost like alien formation. But
I'm looking at pictures of it. But
versions of the Mothman are like all over the globe. There's like sightings of the Mothman. What's so big about Point Pleasant though is the fact that there was a major disaster in Point Pleasant with the bridge. So they have this span bridge that goes over the water and it collapsed and many people died. In fact, we met the wife of the sheriff or police officer that was on the bridge at the time, and he it was him and her child, right? Yeah. So her husband and child perished in that. And so the report was that the Mothman showed up, when that happened, and kind of created that disaster.
Yeah, if you look online, you can see that.
Looking right now,
they claim to have seen him like perching on the bridge right before it collapsed, and ironically, even so, at the exact I-beam that snapped is where he was reportedly to have been seen. But he had started coming around Point Pleasant for I think a couple weeks before that happened, and so a lot of people are attributing it to him being an omen, whether he was somehow bringing the disaster or if he was warning people is up to debate. But they're very, very serious in Point Pleasant about their Mothman. They've got a museum, which you might think, oh, a silly Mothman museum, but it's very detailed. The people there truly do believe in the legend of the Mothman.
The people that were eyewitnesses wrote letters. They gave police statements. There's copies of these like handwritten reports and everything about the Mothman and just different sightings. And it's literally everything you can think of about the Mothman. And so many people visit Point Pleasant for this purpose. They have a statue erected of him like in the middle of the town. It's huge. And so when we were watching the paranormal show, like right before our vacation, they went to these TNT bunkers, which is supposed to be like in these like watery, swampy kind of area where they say the Mothman lives in Point Pleasant. And so they went there, and there's these old TNT bunkers there. And when they were there, they went home and something evil had followed them, and they had reports of like large clawed scratches and burnt, singed handprints all over their bathroom, their house. They'd get these phone calls from a private number that sounded all scratchy and weird, and it happened exactly after they were in Point Pleasant. So Kez and I were like, shit.
Now we're assuming the Mothman knows how to use a phone, though.
Correct. Hey, he can get with the modern times. He's an intelligent being, I feel like.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of sightings, I'll say that. And like you said, it's not just really there. It's all over the place, but that's where, the majority of it isn't where it originated from. But
yeah, and
There's got to be something behind it, and I'm thinking, but.
Well, yeah, especially when it's like reported. So back in the day when it was reported, I think it was 1950s. So it's not like there was social media and stuff. So you're getting reports from all over the world with very similar descriptions.
And you're ranging from, like you said, early, 1966 to, they've got stuff reported in 2016.
Yeah. Yes, we saw that. Yeah. So we'll get to the rest of the Mothman stuff, but I want to circle back to a couple of the other things that we did while we were in Point Pleasant. There is a hotel there called Lowe Hotel, LOWE, and it is supposed to be haunted. First of all, the hotel was amazing. Like it's very old. Everything's very well preserved. So there's a lot of old antique furniture. It's got that very old feel to it, and
it's beautifully creepy.
Yeah, it's beautifully creepy.
What does it got to do with the Mothman? Anything, or it's just haunted on its standalone?
It's haunted on its standalone. But we found the TNT bunkers. So because we're gonna go back to the Mothman, but this is how we found the TNT bunkers was through the Lowe Hotel.
We had asked them, about it and how to kind of get there, give us a little bit of direction, in which a little hesitant at first, but as we sat there and got to know them and hang out and talk, and they were okay with giving us directions to go there. But
and his directions were like exact to like the tenth of a mile. Like, yeah,
it's like, now go down this road 0.6 miles and you're going to see this on your side. And it was
some of the things that we had read online was that if you try to ask the locals about where these TNT bunkers were, that they give you wrong directions on purpose because they get tired of the.
So that was false because they didn't give you the wrong directions.
Yeah, they did not. So I can't say for the rest of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, but everybody was super awesome when we were there. They were so nice and pleasant. The guy gave us good directions. So when we went to the TNT bunkers, you want to set the scene for what it looks like?
There's a lot of grass and trees.
Boring.
No, there's I think, was there 7 that were still standing at the time that we went?
So.
And they're just essentially large concrete domes where they used to store ammunition and, essentially explosives within these during the war, so that if they were attacked or anything had happened or something was accidentally set off, the idea would be that it would implode this concrete structure and not, destroy the other bunkers and harm anybody. So we've got these abandoned bunkers. Some of them are still standing. I don't know how many would be standing still, however years later.
Just
now.
Think cement igloos,
covered
in trees, grass, and moss in the middle of the woods. And on the path that you walk from the roadway, there's like swampy water to one side of you, and then these hidden cement igloos underneath the grass to the other side of you.
So
that alone is just really creepy. Just getting to
very
them.
much so. And
don't go at night, right?
Well,
no, we went during the daytime.
Well, and it's tucked back there too, so you got to go down a couple roads that don't really feel like, they're roads to nowhere essentially. So you're pretty deep in there, not really having any cell reception. So obviously we're like, okay, this is great. Like, I hope nothing happens. Like, I hope like a human doesn't come and get me.
Because there's all kinds of gunfire going on because we happen to go during hunting season. So
gotcha.
We actually ended up wearing orange on purpose because of that, because somebody had mentioned make sure that you wear bright colors because they're going to be hunting in the woods there. So to do that.
But so according to the TV show that we had watched prior to going, that's where the person had the attachment, was when they went into the TNT bunkers. And so we're going in there and we're kind of going bunker by bunker,
surrounding us in white light.
We're going bunker by bunker and we're just doing a little, EVP sessions. We had the K2 meter with us, think we had a handheld camera. We're just asking questions.
We had the motion sensor lights with us.
But the most, I guess, important thing to note is how echoey our voices were within. It doesn't matter if you're whispering.
Concentrate.
Yeah, you're hearing reverberations all over the place. You can hardly hear each other talking because there's so much reverberation. Like I can't. You need to I can't hear what you're articulating. I can hear that you're speaking
really slowly and purposefully and minimally.
Yeah, exactly. And we were actually really fortunate to get a couple EVPs there. And what was
really
extremely surprising about it and kind of validating was that there were no echoes attached to the voices we were hearing.
So our voices were echoing. EVPs come through, no echoes. Yep, the problem is we, for some reason, I don't know what's going on, but the Google Drive tonight would not let us play it from the computer because we were going to play it,
Oh yeah, I'd like to hear it. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So we'll isolate it and put it on the Facebook page whenever we put this out. So it'll be quickly after this goes up. We'll get those isolated. But one of them was we were not provoking and like, hey, I know we weren't that much provoking, but provoking in the sense like on the TV show it had said like the bunker number 4 seemed to be the most haunted and most active, and we weren't getting anything at that point. And so we're like, this was supposed to be the most haunted one. I guess we're gonna go ahead and leave. Nobody's got anything to say. It's your last chance. And then as we were leaving, we couldn't hear this with our ears, but on playback we heard.
Eat shit.
That's exactly what it said.
And
the male voice, clear as day.
No echo.
No echo. And I know people listening to this are going to be like, that's straight bullshit because you didn't play it for us right now. But I promise we're going to post this link and we will get it played because I swear. And then another one that we picked up was very, very faint. And it was like, I need a glass of water. And it was a full sentence. But it was very broken up and whispery and very hard to hear. So hopefully we can get all the background. But again,
those are my favorite ones. I love it when you can get an EVP like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that voice was not echoey either. So ours was.
And again, a male voice.
Yeah, it was a male voice. And it was all male voices. And we did get some hits on K2. We got motion sensor lights going off. But I mean, other than that, there's some EVPs that we got that it's just a noise that none of us were making and it wasn't echoey. So therefore we know that it's an EVP, but it was nothing like, saying anything. It was just
a noise.
Yeah. But it was interesting that it wasn't echoing. So
yeah, that's really interesting actually, because you guys were echoing. You could hardly hear what was happening. If you're getting really clear EVPs, it's obvious that it's not making sound in that area. So yeah, that's really cool.
So I can't wait for you guys to hear them. So.
It was quite frustrating listening it on the playback too. I mean, it's frustrating when you're in there because you're like, gosh, it's annoying. You actually don't want to talk and ask questions because you feel like you're missing something, because all you're hearing is yourself like over and over again.
Yeah, that was a really tough evidence review.
But would definitely just based on how clear, I guess, those voices were. I mean, we would definitely go back to try again. Maybe with a couple more people.
Yeah.
Maybe sit still.
Maybe we'll do a haunted road trip to West Virginia. But I have to say, everybody was fantastic there. If you ever want to go to Point Pleasant, I highly recommend it. Just because it's a beautiful little town. There's some museums in downtown. There's
very small town feel, very
little diners. And Low Hotel was by far it was great. The people were so fantastic. It's family owned and run. And the other thing, you have your hand raised. Yes, Jenny.
We are at time.
Oh, thank you so much. We might have to go a little longer on this one. We may make this a 40-minute one, but thank you.
Doing my job.
Thank you. I like the hand up there. So we'll make sure we know that's the thing. So at Low Hotel, we set up cameras. We stayed in this suite. They put us in this amazing 2-bedroom suite that had a living room, full bathroom, 2 bedrooms. They were very generous, a king size bed in one, queen in the other. And we set up the night vision cameras to run all night when we slept. We set up recorders. We didn't really get any EVPs that I know of that I can remember. But what we did get was, I'll let Kez tell the one that happened to them. But for me, when I was doing some of the evidence review, the way that the camera was like faced towards the bed. And again, we're going to try to get these videos, but it's on the DVR system that we got to get from someone that has it. But there was an orb that, and I know orbs are kind of like, yeah, right, whatever, but it's very similar to another orb that we caught over at for our schoolhouse, which we'll have an episode about that. But the orb just came down the hallway and then like hovered in the doorway, and then it just kind of went on and disappeared. So that was kind of cool. And then something super creepy happened to Kez.
Well, we're sleeping, and it would not have been creepy for me had she not have woken me up about it. But essentially, Gina wakes up in the middle of the night. I'm pretty much dead asleep, and she goes,
I sit straight up, I think. Or no, I was just looking up.
You looked up and you're like, can you see that? Or did you hear that? And I'm like, what? You know, like, don't creep me out, kind of. I'm tired, and I also don't want to be freaked out when I'm, you know, in the middle of sleeping.
In a haunted hotel.
And so she's just kind of like staring off at the end of the bed. And I'm laying there. You can see me in the video. I'm just still laying there. My legs are stretched all the way out. Or yeah, my legs are stretched out. I'm not a tall person. I'm about 5'4" on a good day. And the bed itself,
so
as she said, was like,
honest.
Yeah, thank you. She said it was a king bed. So it stretches well, you know, past where my feet
It was a
end.
California king. If that gives you, like, you know how much longer the California kings are.
But on playback of watching the video around that time when Gina woke me up and she's staring off and she's like, I just feel something's here at the end of the bed. You can actually see on the video, it looks like something's creeping up underneath the covers, up towards me, up towards my body.
It looked like it slithered up under the covers.
Yeah.
And I think we showed this to you, didn't we?
Maybe I saw it. And, I don't remember, but something sounds familiar. Like I at least heard the story. I don't know if I saw the video.
I'll have to pull that up for you, but essentially,
so you had the video recorder, you had the video thing playing while you guys were sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And talk about feeling violated, like when you watch a video and see like ghosts fucking with your blankets when you're sleeping. It's like,
but of course we immediately went to try to figure out like, well, what did I do? Like, how did I move that could have created that?
Right.
Yeah, we tried to recreate it.
And so I laid back in the bed and I stretched out, and I'm moving my knees and I'm pulling my leg up slightly
in a very unnatural manner that you probably wouldn't even do when you're sleeping, but we were literally trying everything to
exactly it. And what it came down to was that I was not tall enough. So
where
you could make a move, I could make a movement that was a little unnatural that could kind of look like maybe something of that nature, but when you review the video, it's starting like a foot past where my feet would be,
and it would take movement in Kez's hip in order to recreate that. So Kez's hip area didn't move.
Yeah, it was a very isolated movement up the blanket, and you don't see me moving at all, shifting at all, because I'm asleep. Gina woke me up right after that.
Yeah, I woke up right after it happened.
So it wasn't like she woke me up and then I moved, and then that was what that was. It was she sits up in bed, you see this thing happen, and then she jolts me awake because like, what is that? Did you see that or did you hear that? And I'm like, what's going on? So delirious. So I don't know, it's very strange. I still to this day like want to go like how maybe I just moved weird. I just happened to like fly under the radar and move funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
But really reviewing the video, it's like when it's a foot about a foot tall, it starts a foot lower than where my foot begins.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to be like, okay,
it.
how would I have moved literally a foot lower than how tall I am, and then moved that blanket in that manner, like all the way up to my hip.
Yeah, right.
And there's like a lot of people that have went to that hotel to like investigate and so forth, but
looks like a nice place. I mean,
it's a beautiful place. Like, even if you just decide you're going to go there, if you want to go see the Mothman, stay at the hotel. If you want a nice little vacation, like, even away from home, it really was a great hotel, and everybody was super pleasant. There was a bar area in there, and everybody was just a lot of fun. So it was super great.
The lobby looks nice when you walk in. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. That's
really, really neat.
So we did a little bit of mini investigation around there. We did some, recording, like trying to record EVPs and stuff, and went other places and set up a little bit of equipment, but we were trying not to disturb the hotel too much. They were really fantastic hosts. Yeah. So we finished off the haunted road trip with the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. And so quite a few different paranormal shows have stayed there and investigated it. We spent the night there. Prior to spending the night, I'll just do a little plug for this little museum that's there. We went to this museum close by the prison. I wrote it down in Cameron, Wisconsin. It's called Archive of Afterlife, or of the Afterlife, a Paranormal Museum. And the person that was running the museum actually was one of the tour people, I believe, at the penitentiary that night. So he's super, super, super knowledgeable. He has a really cool collection. It's inside of an old schoolhouse, and so there's other businesses in there. So he has like a few rooms in this schoolhouse, and awesome collection of oddities and cool things. And he was super knowledgeable pretty much about everything that he had. He did his research. He knew a lot about the paranormal. So if you're ever in that area, stop and give him some love, because I'm not getting anything from it. He doesn't know I'm doing this podcast, but just saying it was really great. It was a neat place. There was pretty cool things in there. But so we did that before we went to the prison, but we went to the prison, brought our equipment in there, and there were other people there. So it wasn't just, Kez and I with our equipment. So there were a couple other groups and teams that were there. Some people that just got together to do it, with friends. But everybody was really respectful of each other. People really did a good job of taking turns. There were, was it 2 girls or 3 girls in that group that we ended up?
3.
Okay. So there was, feel free to jump in here anytime. So when you first go into the prison, I think, was there an electric chair in there?
Yeah, there was at some point.
Yeah, so there was an electric chair, I think, but wasn't it like
it's probably in the little front museum area?
So that was kind of creepy. But when you go in, there's no electricity running through the place. So the only place that there's electricity is in the front, like when you walk in the front lobby area. They have like a store and stuff like that. So we went to all these different sections. I think in one of the shows, was it Ghost Hunters or something, was where they caught that still of the guy peeking around the corner.
I don't remember.
Of the hallway at this penitentiary. And I know that I think Zach Bagan's team was there too. So we went to all these different areas, and there was 3 girls there that were investigating, and they're friends, and they go on investigations together at all these cool places. And we kind of teamed up with them for a little bit and let them use some equipment, and we had a good time with them. We went, I think the best time we had was, or the most activity even we had seen, because the place seemed pretty quiet, was we went into the psych ward, and we went into where the padded room used to be, but it's all like cement block. They must, had the pads against the wall. And there's super creepy feeling in there. And at some point, we gave her the K2, right? Do you want to finish telling the story? You're just sitting there like a lump.
No, I'm listening to you.
So we were, we were just kind of spread out in this room, and I handed the K2 to the girl, and I was like, she kind of stepped in the center of the room, and I said, now my spidey senses were going off, and I said, now I don't want you to be scared, but something is approaching you right now, and it's going to light up right now. And like, as soon as I said that, the K2 went off and things were lighting up. And but we didn't get any EVPs, which was kind of disappointing.
It was also difficult because you've got
contamination,
80 other people that are kind of roaming around. You wouldn't be able to say for sure unless it's like directly into
right. But I think you would have had the same thing as like you did in the TNT bunkers. You'd be able to tell by the phonics or like the echo or by the like you said, how close it is to the recorder. Because I mean that's one of the things I always watch for when I'm listening is the phonics part of it and the echo and things like that, because it is sometimes real hard, even when you're when you're not in a big group. But we've done enough where we've been with in the public per se, where you just go to a place and they got other things going on, and I've caught EVPs that I would have never thought I had, but you really got to listen. But I'm surprised you guys didn't get anything there.
No,
I'm surprised by that,
Yeah, we didn't even really get anything with like the still photography that we took. We did get some K2 and EMF spikes in one of the cells, and it was like in the cell of this guy that he was a murderer, and he like had murdered other people there. I can't remember his name. I feel bad. I'm not a very good.
I think his name is Red.
Yeah, Red. So we were in Red cell.
Okay.
And a lot of people have claims of like feeling overwhelmed in that cell, or I think even like people have been like touched or had red marks or something after they were in there. But it was this part of the cell block we were in was part of a like gruesome, bloody scene at the prison where people were stabbed and so forth. But we did get some spikes in there that we couldn't explain. It wasn't our phones. We had our phones off. Nobody else was with us, so we weren't sharing the space with anyone, and nobody had walkie-talkies either. I don't know if I don't think they even allowed anybody to have walkie-talkies. So okay. But everybody was pretty respectful. But that place was massive.
No, that was cool. Even though we didn't get a ton of activity, I think it would be interesting to go back and try it again.
Right.
Yeah, because there was
it's
one
just
point,
a cool place.
Yeah. There was one
point
I'd
like to do
in
that.
The kitchen or something, right? And that was kind of creepy. I think we did a Facebook Live there too, if I'm not mistaken. But
okay.
Either way, overall, Kez planned an amazing haunted vacation.
Because I'm great.
You're pretty great, but take it down a notch.
Yeah, I usually plan our vacations when we go somewhere. We go someplace, then I look for something that might be haunted. I don't, just say, hey, let's go here because it's haunted.
Well, you should.
We've been different places. We went to Bermuda, and they have a haunted prison on the area there. It's like called Casemates Prison or whatever.
Did you guys go?
They wouldn't let nobody in. It was open to the public to get in there. But I thought I had read that they were working on getting it safe so that people could go in it, because I would have loved to have done that. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to go back to Bermuda.
Yeah, that's a shame if I have to go back there, huh?
I mean,
I think we should go check it out. It's got to be something there.
I know, right?
I think you're testing your luck and not coming back one of these times.
Like that Bermuda
Triangle. Have you guys been to St. Augustine Lighthouse?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to. Yeah, we did.
Is that a different episode? Because she's putting her hand up probably again. I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll have to. No, she didn't put her hand up again, but we will have to do that in another episode, because I would love to talk about that. Because when we do that, I would like for us to have already been to the lighthouse here in Wind Point, Wisconsin. So I'd like to group that together. So I got the dates already of when they're doing the tour. So I thought we could just sneak some equipment in. And
we went on one a couple of years ago, and I didn't bring any recorders or nothing. I should have, and I didn't.
Damn it, Rich.
I agree. We should do it. I'll do it again this time. I brought a camera. I took pictures, but it's during the day. So I mean, a full spectrum camera is not really doing anything to it. You can just use your iPhone for taking pictures for that matter there.
Yeah, but definitely just bringing a recorder.
I'd just bring a recorder just to see, and I like doing that.
I bet you now would be a great time to do it too. I don't know if people have gotten to the point where they're actually going.
I think it's June. It's like one weekend in June, one weekend in July. It's like one weekend through the summer. So we'll have to just try to get tickets. And for those of you wondering what we're talking about a lighthouse in Wisconsin, in southeast Wisconsin along Lake Michigan. Try to get in.
I wonder if they do tours of the one in Milwaukee, North Point.
I don't know.
I wonder if they do anything with that.
I don't know. We'll have to take a look at that.
Because I know I think it's open to the public, just like this one is kind of where you can go in and whatever. So I'm wondering if they do tours.
You guys, we're just going to do so much for this podcast. We're going to bring it. So
let's bring it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, so everybody just tune in. We're going to try to crank one of these out every week, post it up. We're also going to do some weird weekly news on Wednesdays. So that'll just be a short segment that Rich and I will do. We'll talk about the news, weird news all over the world. But thanks for listening to our story, guys. I was talking to you, Jenny and Rich. Were you guys frozen? Oh man.
Yeah, something was frozen.
No.
There's a glitch in the matrix. No, actually, I think it's
the
internet. Like I had problems all day.
You guys still gonna end it where it's all connected?
Oh. Well, I guess we'll have to work on that.
You're gonna have to work on a little.
We're gonna have to work on how to say goodbye to everybody.
Intro and an outro. You guys still gotta get a little something in there.
We'll get
we still have our funky theme song though, right?
Oh yeah, the theme song's going, man.
Yeah, where's the theme song?
Let us know. Oh, that'll be added in the edit.
We'll stitch it in.
Yeah, it's gonna get stitched in. So
okay.
Well, this is great. So everybody out there listening to us, all 1 or 5 or 5,000 of you, whatever.
Yep. Thank you.
Have you. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.